Hey everyone, thanks for watching. This is the Spring 2024 January Jumpstart, where we are going to talk about improving your resume. My name is Mandy Rust, and I'm the career counselor for the College of Arts and Sciences. And you can also reach out to any of your personal career counselors by going through EAB Navigate if you have any questions or would like to work with them after watching this presentation. We'll go ahead and get started. So what is a resume? A resume is going to give an opportunity to show who you are and the experiences you gained, so that way you can showcase those to the employer or whoever you are interviewing with. You want to make sure that you're focusing on what is relevant, not necessarily your whole life story, and you don't necessarily have to list everything. If it's not relevant to where you're applying, go ahead and eliminate it, because that way you can utilize the white space towards stuff that actually is relevant to what they're looking for. As you know, the point of the resume is to get you an interview, and the interview is then to get you the job. And then the recruiter looks at the resume and they scan it to see if you're a good fit. They use it during the interview to ask you questions, and then they look at it afterwards to remember details about you. I will say, you only really have someone's attention with a resume for about 5 to 10 seconds. So you really want to make sure your resume has great formatting and can keep the reader's eye on task. So with that being said, how to format your resume. So you want to make sure that your resume is at least 1 or 2 pages long. Ideally 1 page, unless you are a senior or a master's student that was super involved, then 2 pages is okay. But ideally you want to keep it down to 1. Again, you want to focus on your experiences and your skills and accomplishments, not necessarily just the job duties and responsibilities you had. So keeping it 1 to 2 pages, keep your margins all the same size. I personally recommend 0.5 inches, so that way you can eliminate white space. And you want to make sure you have easy to read font, so like Arial or Times New Roman. And then also have the font size anywhere between 10 to 12 point. Bold is best for emphasis. Italics can be hard for people to read, so ideally we try to stray away from that. And again, you don't want it to be no more than 2 pages. And you want to list your experiences in reverse chronological order for each section. So you're going to start with actually your most recent experiences first, and then work your way down your past. Another really good thing to keep the reader's eye on task while reading your resume is using bullet points. Paragraphs, the information gets pretty messy, and again, you only have their attention for about 5 or 10 seconds. So being able to have those bullet points so that they can continue to read down the document, that will help with your potential interview. You also want to make sure that you're consistent with your formatting. The eye can really pick out real quick if something is messed up. So making sure you're utilizing the same font, making sure your dates are all right aligned and line up correctly, those types of things. You want to make sure that your headings are clear so they know what each section is supposed to be learning about, and then also using strong action verbs and the appropriate tense. So if you're no longer in that position, you're going to talk in past tense. Whereas if you're currently in it, you're going to talk in present tense. Also, there are many different action verbs you can use other than saying responsible or assisted. So definitely check those out and see where else you can build from there. Also, looking at job descriptions can really help when it comes to building your resume. You will not just have 1 resume. You can have more than 1 resume that's geared towards areas that you're applying to. But looking at those job descriptions gives a better idea of what they're looking for, so that way you're not telling them irrelevant information. And so that way they can see that you are able to bring your skills to the table. So things to not use when it comes to making your resume. The first thing you don't want to do is use a template. Templates do not give you the opportunity to really brag about yourself as a potential employee or candidate. They also necessarily aren't always read through applicant tracking systems. So just using a plain text document is going to be your best bet. Go ahead and get rid of your high school information if it's been a hot minute since you have updated your resume, or you still have your high school resume. Definitely go ahead and do not put that on there anymore, because now that you're at SLU, we can just talk about that. You also want to make sure that you're not using personal pronouns. So saying, I did this, we did this, those types of things. You want to actually type your resume in third person because it's going to be read in first person while the reader is reading your resume. Personal demographic info. So this includes resumes with pictures or date of birth, city, state, all of those types of things. If it's anything demographic, you do not want to put it on there. Your contact information should just be your name, your phone number, and your email, and a LinkedIn URL or portfolio if you choose to post those things as well. References get their own document. You do not need to list them on your resume, and you do not need to say references available upon request. Employers are going to know that, and so you don't need to do that. Your references page is going to have the exact same header actually as your resume. So the same with the name, your contact info. That way it is easy for them to see which is which. You also want to make sure you're not using abbreviations. So typing out St. Louis University and spelling SAINT, not just abbreviating St. Also, is it a Bachelor of Arts or BA? Applicant tracking systems don't necessarily read for those abbreviations, so it's better to just go ahead and spell those all out. And as you heard me mention earlier, inconsistent formatting can really mess up a document very quickly. And it, like I said, it pulls the reader's eye to it, the mistake. So just making sure that you have your spacing and your font and such correct. So different sections that you could go ahead and put on your resume. Your contact information, as I brought up earlier, again, name, phone number, email, and potentially a LinkedIn or portfolio link. A summary or a profile statement. These used to be called an objective back in the day, but the objective in itself is to get the job or opportunity. So that's not necessarily relevant anymore. So give yourself about 2 or 5 sentences to write a summary or a profile about yourself, but don't also repeat information below. You don't need to bring up again that you are a student at St. Louis University because it's going to say that in your education section. So utilize those 2 to 5 sentences to really be able to show more of what you can bring to the table. With that being said, after that is where you will put your education because that is where you are, what you are presently working on. So your education, St. Louis University, St. Louis, Missouri, just the month and the year you're graduating is completely fine. You don't need to list the whole time frame you've been here, but make sure that you put the month because there are 3 different graduations per year and that the employer should know that. With that being said, your employment. So whether it be work experience or volunteer experience, those types of things, the employment, internships, volunteer work will have their own sections. Again, you'll want to have those in reverse chronological order, starting with your most recent things first. This is the opportunity for you to really showcase what you can bring to the opportunity and your skills and such. So again, bringing up your skills and experiences, not just your job duties and responsibilities. How did you get those things done is more so what they're wanting to know. Any type of campus involvement, so extracurriculars, whether you were in a certain organization or you're in a certain student club or you play intramural sports, those types of things can go in there as well. If you have any military experience, also your publications and research, those can go in there. So that way you can utilize that. If you are an athlete, that can definitely go in your resume as well. And then you're going to finish your resume talking about your skills. You want to focus more on your technical skills first versus soft. Ideally, your soft skills would be showing within your bullet points above. So focusing more on skills of like maybe what software you know how to use. Maybe it's Adobe or maybe it's Python or maybe it's just Canva. Whatever that may be, you want to make sure you're listing it. And also if you speak any different languages, you want to list those as well. And then the proficiency that you're able to speak those languages. So as I mentioned, you want to build strong bullet points. So think about what you did, what did you learn, how did you accomplish it, what was your role on the team, and how did you contribute? So thinking who, what, where, when, why, how. What was the biggest impact you have? Again, use strong action verbs, avoid responsible, worked, or assisted. Again, don't use those personal pronouns. You're going to be talking in third person. And if you're able to quantify any of your accomplishments, you'll definitely want to do that. So maybe you worked with the budget, maybe you had to get so many credit card applications per shift. Maybe you had to all those, any type of number, if you supervise people, those types of things. If you have any type of number you're able to quantify, definitely put it in there because it paints a better picture for the reader. However, it is okay if you don't have the numbers, but it's something to keep in mind for the future. So here's a really good example of developing bullet points and how you can really state the same thing, but being a lot more detailed. So this was somebody who was an events intern. So as you see, the first 3 bullet points say, wrote and mailed fundraising letters, created marketing materials, developed an online bulletin. Whereas then there's also developed and created fundraising letters to individual and corporate donors, created marketing materials, including brochures, flyers, and postcards distributed to a database of over 1,500 donors, and produced an online monthly newsletter highlighting those annual events. As you see, they both say the same thing, but again, one paints a better picture for the reader and really shows where their accomplishments were able to give them I don't know what word, but you get where I'm going. So knowing yourself, what are you most proud of in your experience? What ideas did you have? What did you bring to them when you started those positions? Were you able to solve anything? And how did your work help? What was the outcomes? Be strategic. Who was your target market? What do they want to know about you? What is your competitive advantage? And what is the compelling way to present it? Also, reading the job descriptions and research can be very helpful because you are able to see what skills and experiences are required and how you're able to transfer those. And making sure that you know you have similar skills and what they're wanting and what sets you apart and again, if you are able to make those transferable skills. What are employers looking for? So having these things on your resume helps you stand out and get called in. This is from the National Association of Colleges and Employers, NACE. So it looks like employers are wanting people with problem-solving skills, analytical, quantitative skills, ability to work in a team, written communication skills, initiative, strong work ethic, technical skills, flexibility and adaptability, detail-oriented leadership, verbal communication skills, interpersonal skills, commuter skills, organizational ability, strategic planning skills, creativity, making sure you're friendly and outgoing. Are you tactful? Are you a risk taker? And making sure you have a fluency in a foreign language is something that's also important to them. So a lot of these things are similar, but yet different, but it shows really what employers are looking for. So you're able to showcase that in your interview. You can talk about these accomplishments and such within your bullet points. Again, you can do work, volunteer, and leadership experiences as well. You just don't want to list these things though. You want at least a minimum of 2 bullet points per example. So that way they have an idea of why it's relevant. So here is a resume example for you to check out. So as you see at the top, as I mentioned, the name, email, phone number, and a LinkedIn URL if you choose to have it. Then you have your profile section, which is again about 2 or 5 sentences. Then your education section, and you'll want to make sure St. Louis University is completely spelled out, and that you also have either Bachelor of Arts or a Bachelor of Science, depending on whichever degree it is listed. And then if you do decide to list your GPA, you would just need to show that it is at least with a 4.0 scale, because certain schools use a higher scale than just a 4.0. We do advise that if you at least have a 3.0 or higher, that you can go ahead and put it on your resume. So as you see, this person has marketing related experience they want to focus on first, because those are the types of positions they're applying for, and they want to make sure that they are able to show that they have learned so far. So again, you see that this is quantified, supervised 15 student ambassadors, communicated with 200 prospective students, and supported 3 different admission counselors. Again, having those numbers can really help. And then also showing what you did and how you were able to help the customer or employer at the end. Then after the marketing related experience, they just decided to list their work experience. Again, a minimum of 2 bullet points. Also, you would list the dates right aligned as you see in the example. Then focusing, they decided on their leadership experience. And then showing the positions they held within the fraternity. And then at the very bottom, as I mentioned, you'll want to focus on the different languages you can speak and your technical skills, so software and such. And then that's also where your soft skills would go at the very end of that. So Career Services is here to help you. We have one-on-one appointments that are available both in person and virtually. We also have drop-in hours that are Monday through Friday here in Breezy Deck Suite 130 from 3:30 to 4:30 Central Time as well. If you would like to schedule an appointment once you're an alum, you would just go through Stephanie Jones with her email listed below to get that appointment scheduled. And I just wanted to say thank you for listening. You can go ahead and follow us on our social media. We have our Instagram, our LinkedIn, and we also have a podcast called The Launch Pod that you can have access from our website. If you have any questions, you can always email us at careers_services@slu.edu, or you can give us a call at 314-977-2828 to make an appointment. Thank you again for listening.